Hello, I'm Mary Spicer, and thank you for joining me for today's episode of Behind Fashion. In this unprecedented time, the fashion industry, like so many industries, is in distress. Around the world, we have gathered together to demand racial and social justice, and the hard work continues. I hope that everyone has voted. Our voices must be heard. 2020 has been all about pivoting, and we really need to pivot together. Today, it is my great pleasure to introduce all of you to Corey Samuel Roché. Hi, Corey. Oh, hi.
Hi,
Wait,
how are you?
there you are. Hi. So good. Thank you so much for coming on. I know that you're busy. There's a lot going on, and I truly appreciate you taking the time to
No,
speak with
thank
me.
you for having me. I appreciate you.
Before we start talking all things wonderful in fashion, I do want to check in with you. There is a pandemic happening. How are you and your family doing at this time?
We're doing as good as we can in this pandemic. My family is all in Michigan, so I am in LA, and I'm the only one that lives in LA. So it's a little trying. You know, we do a lot more FaceTimes and Zooms for the whole family, so we can just feel like we see each other. And my sister got married October 2nd in Vegas, so they all flew, but I drove because I wasn't getting on the plane.
Okay.
But it was good I needed that. It was necessary for me to see my family. And they said the same thing. So I think we're doing good now. We got to spend a week together and spend some good quality family time, excuse me.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're doing good. Everybody's good.
Oh, that's so nice. And driving across, everything went fine, no snow? Because you have to go over the mountains or?
No, I don't have to go through many mountains. Um, it's more desert from LA to Vegas. So it's really nothing from once you get to like Inland Empire, Rancho Cucamonga, there's really nothing until you get to Barstow. So if you don't fill up, you should fill up prior to, but I'm from Michigan. I love road trips. I drive all the time. So I was eager. My friends were like, we'll meet you out there. We'll fly. And I was like, well, somebody's riding with me. So it was fun. It was just a good old road trip. 3 hours, nothing bad,
Yeah.
so.
That's a nice reset. And I reached out to you because you're a highly sought after costume designer and costumer, which means you really know how people perceive each other. And growing up, we called this the New York Minute. Real quick, we knew who you are, probably what you do. It's just
Exactly.
I mean, people wince at that now, but and now today everybody's like, oh, it doesn't matter what you wear. But many social experts know that all of us make some sort of an opinion about other people when we first meet them, and it takes only 7 seconds. That's just human nature, isn't that correct?
I agree. First impressions are lasting impressions. I tell people that all the time. And the first 5 to 10 seconds of you looking at someone, you kind of size them up. You already have an assumption or a preconceptive notion of what they're about in your head. So I agree.
Looking at their clothing, are they tucked in? Are they buttoned up? I think.
And I tell people all the time, you can tell a lot from people's appearance. The first thing and I'm horrible at this, and I think people think that I'm staring at them, but it's like, no, it's really not. I'm looking at what you got on. I start with the shoes. The shoes can tell you so much about a person, man or woman, just how they keep themselves up. If their shoes are all messy, ran down, laces untied, 9 times out of 10, their life is in disarray. Like you go in their house, it's like junk everywhere, not the tidiest person. You just can tell a lot.
Yeah.
You have a stain on your shirt and you don't care that stain is there. In my head, I'm like, your bathroom's probably nasty.
So it starts getting into, how aware are you of yourself and your surroundings? It's the little things, it's specifics.
Mm-hmm. It's very intricate. Yes, the details. It's the little details, those intricate little pieces of the puzzle. You know what I'm saying? Like like you said, your shirt's out.
Oh,
You don't care that your shirt's half out, half in. Well, now it's the style. It's called a
I
French
was gonna
tuck.
say, I've
You
done
know,
that on purpose.
yeah, I do it all the time now. It's a French tuck, and I did it in Vegas, and my mom was like, "Your shirt's undone." I'm like, "Mom, it's a thing. It's a
It's a
thing. Like, leave it alone."
I think you can tell the difference between, oh, it's weirdly
Because it's
tucked.
still you still did it neatly. It's not like you just threw a piece of your shirt in the pants. Like, no, you're gonna do it neat. So,
And
yeah.
you're the costume designer for network television show promos such as Games People Play, as well as the costumer for Netflix's Black Excellent, featuring Kenya Barris and Rashida Jones. But okay, full disclosure, when you said that to me, I had no idea what Black Excellence was. And I looked it up and it's hashtag Black AF. Okay, yeah, I know what that is. And if anyone out there who's listening or watching this has not seen that, you're welcome, because this is one to binge. This is a really great show. I absolutely love it. The outfits changes the characters, they even discuss what they're wearing. It's
Mhm.
a wonderful view. And I think many of us do think as we're dressing, what am I trying to say? What am I trying to portray? So can you tell me a bit more about this as a costume designer? Do you get a script ahead of time to prepare and pull the outfits, or how is that working?
Okay, so typically on a TV show, there's a department of about 15 of us. And, it has a department head, the costume designer. Then number 2 is the assistant costume designer, supervisor. We have a key, a shopper, set costumers, etc., and some PAs, production assistants. We call it the design team, the costume designer, the ACD, the supervisor, and the key and the shopper. So it's 5 of us. We are who comes up with the concepts for the clothes. So we'll read the scripts, and then we'll go to the concept meeting with the rest of the producers and the execs, and they will give us what they thought, especially some of the writers, which are some executive producers as well, because it's their baby. We're helping them bring it to life. So we need them to tell us what they were thinking for each character. So we read the script, we go to the concept meeting, and they inform us of what they thought. And then we go and do our research and bring it to life. And we'll do mood boards, and we'll have another concept meeting so that we can provide them the mood board so they can see what we come up with and if they like it or not. And that's kind of how we start the process. We'll say,
Wow.
hey, we thought this guy, he plays basketball, he's in his early 20s. So we're going to dress him. Let's put him in something like Russell Westbrook. Like, that's what the kids do now. They're crazy. They like to live on the edge. And we can put that on the mood board and take it to the concept meeting. And the executives say, no, that's too far for us. That's not what we were thinking. Or, you're spot on. Right. That's exactly what we were thinking. And there you have it. We've birthed a character.
Yeah, sounds really easy. So you have a big meeting to talk about what they're wearing, what they're thinking, what they're going through. You go and implement it in mood boards, and then have yet another meeting to approve, because sometimes you're kind of pushing the envelope, right? Sometimes you want to
A
bring a
lot of
little.
times. Yeah, we have our own agendas because we're fashion, they're not. So, we're like, we're going to push this look because this is what's going to catch the eye of, the watcher, the viewers. This is what's going to reel them in.
Yeah.
For instance, Kenya, when he went to Fiji in Black AF, he wanted to look like money. And so when you're in a meeting and someone says, I want to look like money, we're looking around like, well, I know what that means, but that doesn't mean that everyone in our department knows what that means, and the designer for Black AF, Michelle Cole, who has been responsible for majority of Black primetime television shows known to man, from In Living Color to Martin to Bernie Mac. She's done them all. And so she's the designer. And so she picks us as her design team because she knows that we know our stuff. So when he said that, I immediately leaned over to her and said, Fendi, we got to do like labely, where it's monogrammed. And so everybody can see that you have on this $3,700 jacket or this $5,500 sweatsuit. That's what he wanted. And so it's those key words, you know what I'm saying? And it takes a village, it can never be one person, not on a TV show. It's way too much work. And back to your comment, you said it sounds easy to process. It is absolutely not easy.
I was being facetious.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
I'm very dry. No, I'm very dry. Sounds easy. What I meant was, wow. So there's a lot of people, a lot of hands. It's a huge process. And sometimes, and I have to say, I've been in meetings where I thought we all understand exactly what they're saying. You come back with the mood board and they go, oh no, that's not it. I mean, money to one person is something different to another. And is that person in fashion? Is that person not in fashion? Like from what angle are they talking
exactly.
about?
I 100% agree. Yes, spot on. You have so many different personalities, so many different people in this room that think they know fashion, and it gets under our skin because it's like, you hired me because I know fashion. You're hired because you know writing. So let me do my job just like you did yours. So let me suggest to you what, but you have these people because they're in higher positions or because they have on the exclusive sneakers that just came out last week, they know more than you. When I've done this for years, you dress yourself. I've dressed thousands of characters. I've made thousands of TV shows, like, let me do my job,
Yeah. And
so
I think that's really important, that we all have to trust each other. When you have a great group together, we must trust each other to do our jobs, or maybe you needed to hire somebody else because we know what we're doing. And
absolutely. Teamwork makes the dream work. However, you have to allow the team to be a team. You can't be the captain and the point guard and the forward. And you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. You can only play one position.
Does nobody any good. It really doesn't. So throughout the year, you must be staying current on what fashion is doing to get these amazing looks on these shows. I'm seeing. So are there certain designer fashion shows that you attend to find out what's up and coming, to do polls, because you want to get the things before they're out on the shelves?
Sometimes, yes, especially because you have a actor from your show is enamored with your aesthetic. And so they say, hey, I'm doing Ellen next week. Can you dress me for that? And then so you're like, okay, I guess so. So yes, in those cases, you want the cream of the crop. You want it before anyone gets it, so they could be the buzz wearing it. You know what I'm saying? And so I go to, typically when the world was normal and not in the pandemic, I would go to both fashion shows, fashion weeks in New York, in men's and women's. In addition to, from the years of being in this career, a lot of the designers that I have, built relationships with, will send me their stuff, send me their lookbooks before, it hits the shelves to see if I want anything, Bloomingdale's, the studio services department. I mean, I'm gonna pat my own back, but I'm a lovable person. I have a really loud personality and I'm really like goofy. I love joking and laughing. And so I think because I come in with this genuine, likable spirit, people just kind of gravitate towards me. So even when I go to Bloomingdale's or Neiman Marcus or Saks, they're like, hey, Corey, I'm going to take your information, let's change phone numbers so I can let you know when things are about to hit, or when the buyer comes and tells us that they have some new stuff that's going to blow your mind. They'll text me like, hey, you need to come up here tomorrow. We're having a little preview. The buyer has done some new things, et cetera, et cetera. So all that matters. It all matters.
And I got to say, when we're working for years and years, I've said to people so often, it's been so long, like, nobody needs to be mean. We don't need to work with mean angry people. And at this point, I just don't have to.
And you know, I was just telling my mom that she asked me if I was going to go back to a certain show that I had been doing. And I said, you know, no, I think I'm going to pass. I think I'm good. She's like, why? First of all, my mentor, shout out to Devin Patterson. Um, she has taught me that you should only stay with the show for 2 seasons, maybe 3, and move on. You don't want to get pigeonholed. You don't want to get stuck. I mean, think about this. Let's say, for instance, Modern Family. Modern Family ran for 11 years, 11 seasons. Had I done Modern Family from season 1 to 11, no one would know who I was because I've been on that one show for all that time. So when it comes to crew up for another project, they're not going to think, oh, Corey's available. Modern Family's done. They're going to stop calling. They're going to feel as though you have left the building. And so you want to just do 2, maybe 3 seasons, move around, keep a fresh face, keep your face in different people's faces, you know what I'm saying? So that you can have a plethora of opportunities. And so now I'm at a point in my career where, no, I'm not going to take everything. You do something that I don't like on set, if it's offensive, I probably will say, I'm going to bow out. Thank you for the opportunity, but I'm not going to continue with this project. I'm more than willing to assist with the transition period, getting somebody else in here. I'll give you 3 references, but I don't have to accept anything anymore.
Right.
And that's a great feeling.
It is.
It's a great feeling.
It's a lot of work to get there. And, you know, like you said,
Absolutely.
you're keeping your finger on the button for fashions as well. You don't know what's going to, so you're looking and working and searching around the clock, all year long.
Absolutely. You have to eat, sleep, and breathe fashion. This is not something that you can pick up for a couple of days a week. It's not. Even if you were into fashion just for yourself, you're going to have to look at more than a couple things to figure out what you want and what's hot and what's not. You know, so like my Instagram feed, my news feed, like everything is fashion. You know, when I'm sitting around, I'm looking at what's hot and what's not.
Yeah. And your work has also, you've done a lot. You've been featured in Insight, the Mother-Daughter Experiment Celebrity Edition on Lifetime, Exile on WeTV, Tattoo Nightmares, Miami Edition, The Real, multiple seasons of HBO's Insecure, and ABC's Grownish, Netflix's Dear White People, and On My Block, as well as you're doing the press for NCIS, Dancing with the Stars, Blackish, and Mercy Street. And you also worked on Jay-Z's Family Feud music video, which included a huge list of who's who in Hollywood. I mean, it's just one person after another. So when you're pulling the looks, when you're pulling the looks, let's say for the video, let's start with the video. If you're pulling looks for that, are you in contact? Because now you're not in like a television show. Now you're in a music video. Are you talking to hair and makeup about the looks and the overall look? Like who's overseeing all of that?
We try to collaborate a little bit, but it's kind of political as well. But fashion, we are number one because we set the tone. When you first turn a TV show, a music video, a feature film, whatever it is you're going to watch, when you click that TV on, what's the first thing that you see? The fashion, the clothes, and then you go to the hair and the makeup. So the first impressions are lasting impressions. And so in saying that, that's something that I relate to hair and makeup. You guys have to follow our lead, you know, and no one really has a problem with that. You have some people that try to buck the system because they want, and I get it, they want their work to be, you know, displayed and put on a platform so the world can see. I get it, but it's not about you, you know?
Right.
So have I had to say something to some people sometimes? Absolutely. But I'm a very direct person. I have no problem with correcting or saying what needs to be said. We're adults and we all have a common goal in mind, and that's to make dope TV. And we can't do that as individuals. So you have to take my criticism as just as well as I have to take yours. You know, I don't want, if she has on 3 patterns, why does she have big hair? That's going to be weird.
Yeah.
You know
But
what I'm saying?
also, have you had situations, and we've had this at fashion shows, not necessarily Fashion Week, because we usually, there's a lot of communication. But sometimes I've had it where there was a misunderstanding in communication. The hair is super big. She's putting on a shirt that is not a button up. It's not a zip up. You cannot get that hair through that shirt or that top. Have you had those situations?
I have. And that's when the executive producers get involved. They'll come and say, hey, this is not, or, for me, in order to keep down confusion or, any bad energy on set, I will go to the executive producer and say, hey, this hair is not going to work with this look. I need you to come check it out.
Right.
We can't even get the shirt. We can't even get the shirt over her head. Like, so, and then sometimes they'll say, yeah, it's important. And sometimes they'll want something, or sometimes the hairstylist will want something, major. Like, oh, we want her to have this big ponytail. So they'll come to us and say, hey, what is she wearing today? Because we wanted to do this. And I'm like, okay, well, we might have to put her clothes on first, because there's no way she's wearing a turtleneck. And then you guys are just going to have to make sure that those clothes are impeccable. No product is on the clothes, and they'll comply. And then so everybody's happy. You know what I'm saying? So, but it comes with experience, I believe. You just want to ask when you get to that point, because you can do something. Let's say we all get dressed, we get her dressed, and it's time for a hair, or she goes to hair and it's time to get her dressed. You're going to have to do her hair all over again. You can't put on the shirt. So you just wasted 4 hours of your time. And it was all beautiful.
And
now
hours
you have
of
to do
production time, which is money out of their pockets. And that's going to be a problem.
That's going to, you hold camera, you and I know, if the camera is held, there's going to be a problem.
Everyone's going to know who did it. Anyways.
For sure.
Whoops. You've also been covered in magazines such as Luxury Life, Parade, Women's Wear Daily, and Essence. And as someone whose career started on a very different path, you were in a Fortune 500 company. Was there a specific moment, like an aha moment, where you decided to pivot to your love of fashion?
I went to work one day. I was a director of international supply chain logistics for a European food ingredient company. And I went to work one day and I just was like, I cannot wear a suit and tie for 40 more years. I can't. This is not going to work. I felt stifled. I mean, I come from an era, well, my parents, because I'm a young man, but my parents, I was taught that you have to find something and stick with it. So, and once you're making good money, you're stable. That's the American dream. You get your family, you get, the house, the dog, the picket fence. I was like, I gotta stay here for 40 years to get all that. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. And so I actually started to fast and pray and ask God to put me in my passion and my purpose and allow me to work through that. And as I started that fasting period, it just started to be revealed every day, literally. Every day I woke up, something else was like gearing me towards fashion. And then I had isolated myself from my friends just because, you want to be clear, you have to stand still and listen in order to, receive it. So my friends were at a party and they were like, where's Corey? Oh, Corey's Corey. He's on his spiritual journey. He is isolated himself. And so that friend texted me the next day and was like, hey, I heard about what you're going through. Let's link and have lunch. And so we did. And she was like, is there anything? I was like, well, everybody keeps telling me that I need to go in fashion. I love fashion. I didn't know that it was a profession. Coming from Michigan, we didn't know that. But, I can't give up this $200,000 salary. I just can't throw that away to start something else from the bottom and scratch and not have any money. So I don't know. And so she said, take a sabbatical and figure it out. And I said, okay. So I took the sabbatical. You have, 6 months to a year to figure it out. And that's when I was like, you either going to use it or get off the pot. And so that's what I did. That's really how it started. And so I came out with like a soft launch for a clothing line that I had envisioned, just some sportswear. I wanted to have 3 different lines, from sportswear all the way to ready to wear, to formal wear. So I came out with the streetwear and it did well. Sales were going, still selling t-shirts here and there. I was like, okay, this is cool. And then so people start asking me to kind of style them. And I was like, okay, because you're eager, and I went back and got 3 internships like I was in undergrad. And before the 3rd month of those internships, I got a call to do Tattoo Nightmares Miami.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you, I mean, I'm a bona fide hustler. I mean, I went to Craigslist, mandyjobs.com. So I was doing odds and end jobs in fashion that I found from the internet. And at first it was just for trade of pictures. Then it went to $300. And then I got my first feature film, which I found on Craigslist. And after I say probably 2 weeks left into the feature film, I got a call to do a Pepsi promo shoot called Drinkfinity. I'm at the Pepsi promo shoot, and I'm just a PA at this point, just starting out. And my friend called me and said, hey, the costume designer for Tattoo Nightmares Miami has just went on maternity leave. I'm about to have them hire you and fly you to Miami to do this job. That was the beginning of my career. And I remember getting down there and, I'm used to things, my parents weren't like poor or anything, but I'm like, whoa, they pick me up in the van and then take me to the hotel. And I'm like, this is amazing. Then what really matters to me is when I got paid, I opened my check and it was like $8,500 after taxes. In addition to, I had all this per diem left because they were giving me like $150 a day. So I walked with almost 10 grand in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Even though I was making good money in corporate America, I was like, this is way better. Like $10,000 in 2 weeks, that's pretty good. Yep. And that was one of the prayers that I had asked for as well, is that I needed to be even keel in regards to compensation. Like I didn't want to have to start my life over. I had already, established myself. So I'm like, I can't go back to eating potatoes every day for the rest of my life until I get back home. I can't do that. I did that in undergrad. I've come too far, Yep. So I was very grateful that I was able to jump in and start making the same monies that I was making in my previous career. Because a lot of people, and I'll end after this, a lot of people have to chase their check. Being a stylist, you have to chase it. And I didn't want to be a stylist. I was like, I'm not chasing any money. Mm-hmm. How about I do the job, I render the services, and you give me a check for it. And that's that. And so that's what made me say, I'm going to do TV and film versus styling.
I see. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. You have styled though. You've styled for Chanel, mm-hmm. Paul Mitchell, Reese ads, and your clients have included Carmen Electra, Tamar Braxton, Tamara Mowry Housley, Portia Williams, and Marcus Scribner. Is it Scribner mm-hmm. or Scribner? Scribner. That's mm-hmm. I knew as soon as I said it. So you're styling for editorial, you're costuming for the TV series, some movies. Have you styled for politicians? And if so, who have you styled for?
I have styled multiple politicians. Unfortunately, I can't name who I styled due to the MNDAs in place. Yeah. And that's typical, in politics. You really, even with Michelle Obama, we really didn't know who was styling her until after the fact. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know who her hairstylist was until after the fact, you know. Daniel One is now he has a blooming clothing line in Neiman Marcus and etc. just from working with her. But he was so silent. It was silence. We didn't know. So yeah, it typically, that's how it typically goes in politics. But it's fun.
Well, how'd you start doing that? Is it because you knew somebody in politics, or?
I have a friend in politics, but she's a lobbyist.
Oh.
And so her boss needed a stylist one day. Like, she has all this stupid amount of money and looks crazy at work. And so my friend kept saying, I'm going to put you in contact with my boss because she needs you. And so she did. The result of that was she gave my name to many other people. And so that's how I got into the politics side of the world.
And I see that you had an interview in GQ and you were discussing politics and fashion, how fashion is determined in politics. And you were discussing how everyone wants to wear expensive suits around Donald Trump. And I got to tell you, here's a picture of Donald Trump, and he's wearing, listen, it's an ill-fitting suit. It's a long red tie. Let's start with that because I feel like there's a lot to unpack here. But what is he trying to convey with this ill-fitting suit? But also, he's kind of worn this his whole life. Is this a branding situation, or is he saying something?
No, I personally think that Donald Trump is simply trying to hide his physique. He's trying to cover up what's underneath. You know, if you look, I mean, and like you said, it's consistent. So it's not like he doesn't know. I'm sure someone's told him, like, dude, let's tailor this suit. You know, first of all, let's get a size smaller. Let's start there. You don't need a long, you know, you see how long his suit jackets are?
Yeah.
You don't need a long suit. You're not 6'5", you know. You're average. You just need a regular suit. You need a size down and you need a tailor. But I think because we've never seen, I think he is hiding his physique. That's the main.
Well, and he's not one, sorry, he's not one to listen to anybody. So if anybody's saying it, he'll say, yeah, and he's just going to wear what he's going to wear, which is really, to me, it's odd because he wants the best of everything. I'm sure those suits are incredibly expensive, and yet.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But this is a typical example of, you know, money wasted. Like, he has all this money, but he's not putting it to use in a way that you or I or anybody in their right mind would do. There's no way I would have this amount of money because, like we said before, first impressions are lasting impressions. Although he doesn't care,
right?
When you go on, when, like, let's say for the debates, had he came out like, you know, Kamala, excuse me, and Joe Biden, nice and pristine, we probably would have said, wait a minute, something's changed in him. Let's listen. No, we're not, because he is frumpy and he's frumpy and ill-fitted. The tie is too long. Like, it's just like, you look like a mess. You look a mess.
It's a mess. I can't look at it, and
so
clearly,
I'm sure your mind is a mess because
yeah, clearly. And money doesn't equate taste, as we know. And many are politicizing what everybody's wearing, though. So people are not only politicizing masks, which we'll get to, but what they don't realize is that the outfits that the politicians are wearing are communicating something. And it's communicating their beliefs. It's communicating what party they're in. So can you tell me some of the little things that those in politics are wearing that symbolize what their political affiliations and beliefs are?
Well, I'm going to start with Harris. Kamala, if you look at her shoe choice.
Oh, I do have her shoe. Hold on. Because we're going to come to her, but you know what? Let's skip it. Because hold on. I'm asking about Kamala. Let's talk about Kamala because we love Kamala. So shoe choice, we have Converse.
She loves her cons.
And I think that, I don't know if you've seen some of the videos of her coming out of the planes in the different outfits with the different Converse.
Yeah, loves her Chucks
Look at
and loves
that.
her Tims. Loves her
Yeah.
Tims.
She
And I'm
loves
here for it.
those. But then
I'm
she's
into
saying
it.
something else here.
In the burgundy, the oxblood suit. Yeah.
Oxblood,
So
yeah.
yeah, oxblood, which I love. It's a really rich color that combines red and purple, as we discussed, which are two powerful colors. Purple is royalty. Red is power, as is looked upon as power in politics. So I think she combined the two. Yep. She combined royalty and power and brought in the oxblood so that it would not seem as in your face. I mean, just like with my cup.
Whoa.
We put the cup there, everything, that's the focal point. You're not even looking at me anymore. So don't come out in a bright red suit as a politician. They're going to think that you are trying to be a dictator or create a tyranny or something. So no, you wouldn't want to do that. Her shoe choice, I think, is for the people. You don't see many people in politics wearing Timberlands or Chuck Taylors or, you know what I'm saying, or sneakers for that matter. They try to do things like, let's not wear a Ferragamo like Joe Biden, which he was rich before he got into politics, but that's a whole nother conversation. But let's not do Ferragamos. Let's do a Flosham. A Flosham is universal. Everybody can afford a Flosham. You know what I'm saying? So if you look at some of the previous politicians, if you dissect their wardrobe, they're choosing those things to send messages to certain demographics of people to say, hey, we're for you. Look, I have on $50 shoes. I don't have on $500 shoes. You know what I'm saying? We roll the sleeves up. I want to look like I'm a hard worker. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a couple calluses on my hands. So those are different tricks. And I learned that from working with politicians. You know, they have a whole team. It's, you know, I might come and pick out, let's say, 5 looks, okay? And each 5 of those looks are being dissected by 15 people in the room. No, he can't wear that red tie. That's too much power. We need something striped, you know what I'm saying? So he can look more down to earth. The suit should not be, I mean, think about when Obama wore the tan suit. It was a catastrophe. That was an abomination.
That was the biggest deal. And I'm wishing for those days. That was the biggest deal for a whole month that he wore a tan suit.
And it actually looked really good.
Yeah,
it looked clean and cool and refreshing. I personally am tired of seeing everybody in a navy or black suit. Yeah. Just because you're a political figure doesn't mean you're restricted to those 2 colors, those 2 Pantones. It's just, I thought the tan with the French blue shirt was great.
So Kamala wearing the checkered suit, maybe it's still a dark color, but maybe that's flagging kind of a change of the guard, a little forward thinking.
I agree. She's giving us, this is 2020, not 1985. That's what she's trying to convey to me. It's like, it's a new day, new age. We're going to become more modernized. You know, and, you know, I have to say this. I would not be Queer Roché if I did not say this. She comes from an HBCU as well. So a historically Black college or university. She went to Howard. I went to Tennessee State University. Those are things that we're taught in school. You know what I'm saying? The subtleties. We're going to bring it out. Let's not do a black suit. Let's not do a white suit. Let's do a houndstooth suit. Because we're going to show that we are set above the rest. And that's how you do that. Remember, I told you, first impressions are lasting impressions. So, you know, we see Trump coming out looking frumpy, but then we saw Obama coming out looking very crisp and clean. Biden and Kamala as well. They're showing us. So I think go ahead.
No, I was just saying, so they are saying a lot with what they wear and they know it.
Like I said, it's a team of 5 to 15 people in that room with me and the client, and they're all there for a certain job. They have a duty. somebody's saying those shoes don't look relatable to the common people. You cannot go out there with those on. If you go out there with those on, I guarantee you're going to go down in polls 10% because you're
Yes.
going to lose the working class. You know, so that's what's going on while we're in there. So it's not a typical fitting where, you know, 5 suits takes me 30, 45 minutes. We're in there for about 3-4 hours because we have to dissect everything, which actually keeps me on my toes and helps me out because the next time I have to do a politician, I take those things that I learned in the previous fitting and apply it. So now I know, don't bring it all red tie. Don't bring it all blue tie.
Right.
Just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Even though you know that that's their taste, don't put it in front of them because they're gonna gravitate towards it, and then we're gonna be in here in a debate with their team.
It's
So
divisive.
yeah, just don't even bring it. So they won't have an option.
So when we're looking historically back and everyone says, oh, well, like this tragedy, Melania Trump wearing this, she was a model. All right. She understands fashion. Her team, there is a team with her. They understand fashion. When she wore this, it doesn't not mean anything. It wasn't accidental.
Oh, no, it definitely was not accidental. It was very intentional.
That's so sad. That's so
It
sad.
is.
I don't even know what to say about it.
I know. I'm just like, whew. I did a piece in BBC about that jacket on Melania. And like I told them, she was definitely making a statement. And I think it was an outcry. I think she doesn't want to be in the position that she's in.
Yeah.
And she's like, whatever, I'm going to do whatever I want. We've never seen her have a voice until the presidency. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, she's never stood out. She's always like stayed in her lane and been quiet and just been the nice, pretty trophy wife. And I think she's fed up with that. I think she doesn't like the way in which her husband is condoning himself in certain instances. And we can see that throughout, you know, the multiple times that they've been out in public and she's done things that I'm going to say are unsavory for the first lady and the president of the United States to be doing. It's just like she snatched her hand away, you know, slapped his hand and things like that. It's just like, yeah, she really is just like going rogue right now. And I think that's what that jacket represented. I mean, it said, I don't really care. Do you?
And I also think that maybe she's like, if you're going to make me go out, this is what everybody's going to talk about. You know,
I'm gonna go out with a bang.
Do these things. I will find a way to make it something.
For sure.
So let's talk about Mike Pence. He started in 2016. He was buttoned up, very well dressed. I have a picture of him here. Donald Trump as usual. The jacket's undone. Too long. And then here's a photo of him in 2017. Now he's matching Donald Trump's tie color. They're like two little twins. His jacket's undone. What is going on? Why would he now start undoing his jacket?
This is textbook. One bad apple spoils the bunch.
Oh.
And following the leader, you know, I truly believe that, you know, people rub off on people. If you're not centered and grounded in your own beliefs and thinking, you can be wavered in any way, you know, and I feel as though for him to transition like this, I mean, we see a clear and distinct transition from him being buttoned up and tailored to going into more of a frumpy. I mean, even in the last photo that you showed, his tie is even longer now. He's tying his ties.
2020. Yeah. Sorry, if anybody can't see this, it's him, Mike Pence, Donald Trump. He has the same body language, the long tie, the frumpy look. They're in front of the military. You know, out of respect, you should have. I guess I'm just a fashion person, but it's
yeah, it doesn't sit well with me. He definitely is a follow the leader. And I think it's actually going to be his demise. Like after this, he probably will not be able to do much more in politics.
You think so?
I think so. I don't think I don't think the world wants another Trump. I'm not saying that there aren't Trump supporters out there. I'm saying I don't think they want another. We have
It
one.
seems like, yeah, it seems like everybody who tries to imitate him, or really, they're the fall guys. They're all the fall guys. Trump is
Absolutely.
going to be fine. He's going to go off into the
Keep
distance, and
going
these
up into the world,
falling.
making more, business deals, bad decisions, exuding taxes. He's going to continue to do that, and they're going to fall on the wayside. I guarantee.
Ugh. Let's look at Vice President Joe Biden, previous Vice President. Oh, he looks so nice. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I just needed a palate cleanser.
No, seriously. Nice, tailored, classic, and we all know that Biden wears nothing but money. Like last year, they nailed him to the cross for wearing those Ferragamo loafers. And I'm like, the man was stinking filthy rich before he even became the vice president. So why can't he wear Ferragamo loafers? I have a pair of Ferragamo loafers. I mean,
they're nice.
They're a nice shoe. Like
I have not really been disappointed in his clothing. I think it's very steady. I think it's clean. It's not like he all of a sudden came out with Ferragamo.
One thing I love about Biden is his consistency. He's consistent. And that's one of the, I think that's one of his attributes. And it's like fluid across the board. It's not just in wardrobe, like even the way he speaks and the topics that he talks about, very consistent.
Yeah, he's pretty steady, and he means well. And most importantly, what I find politically is that he'll apologize, because nobody is perfect. None of our politicians are going to be perfect. And I'm tired of everybody looking for a perfect politician. It simply isn't going to happen.
That's not possible. That's like unorthodox. Like
I'd be scared if somebody was perfect. I go, oh yeah, what are they hiding? Because
they're gonna be the devil.
We've already got that. Let's
right.
And the final biggest fashion accessory of 2020 has been made a political battleground, the face mask. I do not need to show that to you. We all have them. What do you think about its being politicized? And is there a way for us to get over the idea that to wear a mask means you're with a certain political party, or that you're somehow weak? How do we break that?
I don't. It's deeper than that to me. Yes, we all have to wear masks, and yes, it's a little dangerous because it's like a free billboard, if you will, for people. So people are putting whatever they want on there, and from their spiritual beliefs to their political beliefs to what fashion brands they like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like making everything come to the forefront. You're so aware. So now we see the people that are racist. Now we see the bigots. Now we see, the I can't think of the word. I'm sorry. Yes. You see.
Like, what? Who are these people that they're calling them militia? All right, sidetrack. But militia, no, they're terrorists. They are not militia, they're terrorists. So let's just use the proper terminology.
Absolutely. Terrorists. You see all this now.
Yeah.
Before, everyone was hiding. Now it's in the forefront.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's pros and cons to it to me, because now I'm like, I see you. Hey, I'm aware. And everybody is.
Everybody's sidestepping it away.
Right. Just with the whole videotaping everything right now, people are starting to be a little more apprehensive of the things that they say and do in public, because you are going to lose your job, your friends, and everything around you that matters to you. Just yesterday, Asian guy got fired and charged with it wasn't assault. He got charged.
he was yelling racial slurs at someone.
in Scottsdale,
He
Arizona.
couldn't be in somewhere public.
Exactly. And the very next day, he
Bye.
lost his livelihood. Bye.
It was probably that night.
Uh-huh. What's that? The girl, it was a song. You about to lose your job.
It's okay. We can say these things if we want to.
Yeah, for sure. For
There
sure.
has been enough that like, oh, I mean,
Hmm.
good Lord.
It just goes hand in.
Things.
It's so unacceptable. It's so unacceptable. But fashion makes us have fun, so.
Yeah. Yeah. And, hopefully we can get over this politicizing of the mask, and everyone will behave and they will put on their masks, and we can get back to work, and we can have more movies, and we can have concerts.
I know. I think so, but I don't know, because I did a job. I did the hip hop awards in just last week in Atlanta. So they flew me out to Atlanta to do these awards, and it's all virtual and everything. But I don't know. The South is open. Like, I was walking around, and I told you I'm a hypochondriac. So I had on my face shield, the mask, the gloves, hand sanitizer in pocket, because I'm going through the airport with all these people that I don't know what they're doing. I don't think it's
And they're
going
not
anywhere.
wearing masks. How is that
they
not required in the airport?
They were looking at me like I had the bubonic plague because I
Yes.
had on all that stuff. They were, remember before pre-COVID, you would see like some people in the Asian community with their mask on, and I never forget, one of my clients' makeup artists was Asian, and she came into the dressing room with her mask on. I said, "Whoa, do I need to be wearing a mask? Why are you wearing a mask?" And she was like, "Oh, I have a cold." Oh yeah, say that then. Don't come up here. We think you got something that's detrimental. So they
But
were
it's a
looking at
sign
me
of
very
respect.
crazy.
I'm
It
not
is.
feeling well, and I'm going to put a mask on. But we never got there.
And no, we haven't. I went to a restaurant with some of my friends in Atlanta, and they were like, "We're gonna go indoors." I said, "I'm not comfortable with sitting indoors yet, so let's sit out here on the patio." I got harassed by the owner of the restaurant, the security guard at the restaurant. Like, they all were like, "Oh, where are you from?" I was like, "LA." They said, "Oh, we could tell you're not from here because you're all like covered up and everything. The South has been open." I said, "That's because you guys are living on the edge."
Yep.
COVID is real. I don't, well, it's only 200,000 people. That's like less than 1%. I don't want to be a part of that 1% though.
Oh, and heads up, we don't know what it does yet. And the reality is
Absolutely.
that a lot of this is creating blood clots and things like that. And I hate to divert, but we don't know what asymptomatic means. What is happening? You did get it. So what's happening? Is it something later? Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's something. And I don't want whatever it is.
The variables are just too high for me. I love my life. I cherish it. I enjoy it. And I have a couple pre-existing issues. I'm just gonna stay inside for 600, Alex. It's just
I'll just
not
keep
working.
doing yoga on Zoom. I'm gonna, when I can get out into the wilderness, I'm like, all of a sudden I'm wilderness woman.
Yeah, no. And I'm a big health nut. I exercise, at least 6 times a week and all that thing. I run 3 miles. That's my jam. I can't do it right now because, one, the air quality in LA is just horrible. Like yesterday, it was snowing ash just from fires still.
Here
So
too. We have huge fires here in Colorado.
Really? Yeah. So it's just not wise. I have static asthma, so I just don't think I should go out there and run. So I've been forced to do things in the house, but I'm fine with that. Friends call and they're like, "Oh, let's go out to eat. Let's have some drinks." I don't want to go sit outside and pay $150. I don't want to do that.
Right. Oh.
So yeah, the mask.
I know we're all stuck in the house. Listen, I want to talk to you because we can do some Zoom yoga together.
For sure.
It's always
I
better.
do yoga once a week. Yeah, I do yoga once a week because I lift weights and everything, and I do a lot of legs, so I need to stretch out and So I'm
Have you seen the
definitely.
bent arms? Anyways, that's also fashion. Don't do that, guys. You got to stretch back out.
Mhm.
Well, Corey, thank you so much. So very, very much for coming on Behind Fashion with me today and talking to me. This was such a great special edition. I know it went late and I appreciate it, but we were really cruising along there.
Well, I mean, time flies when you're having fun, and the camaraderie is great. Our energies match like so much. It's been a blast, and I wish we could do this for a few more hours. I could literally talk to you all day. Like,
Oh, I
it
know.
doesn't seem like an interview, and I appreciate you so much for thinking of me and having me as a guest on your panel. I mean, I
That's
really did.
Thank you so much, and keep making all the right moves out there. I mean, you are just really getting out there.
Thank you. The sky's the limit. I want to retire in a few years. I don't want to do this. I said I want to retire at 45. I'm 38.
Mhm.
So, but I have some milestones that I want to do in the film and TV industry. So, yeah, you just gotta hustle. 2020 took a couple things away from us because I
Yeah,
have,
yeah.
I
Andrew
haven't had
Cup,
my big production.
listen, I have a cup for you. I have to mail
Behind that,
it. I'm waiting till after the elections with all of this mailing. Nobody mail anything, by the way.
no,
And
yeah,
oh,
no, don't do it. Well, thank you. I can't wait to get my coffee
thank
mug. Like
you.
I told you, I'm a mug connoisseur. I'll send you a photo with my tea. Hey.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
Talk
Bye.
soon. Bye.
Bye.
And thank you all for attending this week's Behind Fashion series with my very special guest, Corey Samuel Roché, one of Hollywood's most sought after costume designers and costumer. You can find him at his website, www.visionscoreysamuel.com. That's VIZIONCOREYSAMUEL. And also his Instagram, Vision, VIZION, by BYCS, Vision by CS. Next week, I will go behind fashion with Baku Rambinotsua, joining me from her office in Paris. She is a fashion brand strategist, author of the book, The Fashionable Business Plan, and the founder of Fashion Cross Functional. See you next Wednesday, November 4th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West Coast, and 5 p.m. British Summertime. All the best to you and yours.